So hopefully you had a quiet, happy Christmas with the family and stuff, because Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy kind of woke up the day after Christmas like, you know what, we choose violence. And there's a series of X posts kind of put out. First one kind of started with Vivek, and then Elon kind of added in on us. Everybody was talking about this. This was like going all over the place. All right, so this is the post that Vivek sent out early on Thursday morning, December 26th. God, it's already up to 83 million views. This was kind of crazy. It just kept snowballing from there. After he kind of put this out, a lot of people talking about it, and a lot of race stuff going back and forth between a lot of different people and stuff like that. So yeah, some things get said in this video. Don't take it to heart so much, really. And anyways, let's get going through this. The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over native, quotes, Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Coming back to that one later. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problems, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for far too long, at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zach and Slater over Screech in Saved by the Bell or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. Fact, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity, and their kids went on to become wildly successful in STEAM graduates. More movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends. More math tutoring, fewer sleepovers. More weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons. More books, less TV. More creating, less chilling. More extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. Most normal American parents look skeptical at those kids of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grow up aspiring to normalcy, normalcy is what you will achieve. Now, close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s or even now who raise their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive goal. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses handed to us by China. This can be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before, and we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new global era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in victimhood, just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence. I'm confident we can do it. That's it. So the interesting kind of thing about this whole thing and kind of what started going back and forth was, he's not singling out any particular race here, but this felt like a specific shot. A lot of people took it as a specific shot towards, white people in America. And it might be. I mean, they're the largest race in America. So, there's no shocking there. So, that's kind of how a lot of people took it. And, whether that's justified or not, whatever. But here's the thing, okay? And a lot of people have pointed out that there's been a lot of H-1B visas hiring that has gone on, especially from India. And if you look at those Indian type of CEOs, this is one post that kind of came out of some of that. This is Dr. Parik Patel, quite accomplished, a lot of commas, Very proud of himself. Anyways, these are all the CEOs of major corporations: Google, Microsoft, Adobe, IBM, Chanel, FedEx, Palo Alto Networks, Perplexity. I tried to look into a little bit, but their information wasn't as easily to find on the CEO, at least. And then there was also another one that was widely known, who used to be a former CEO of PepsiCo, was also Indian. So all these companies have CEOs that are Indian. So the interesting thing about that is, how is the education system to jobhood kind of how's that door work, right? And when you're saying that we need to bring in outside workers, well, or H-1B visas, or immigrant workers, why is it they come from American universities, right? The universities that also have American blacks, American Mexicans, American whites, why do we need to have H-1B visas to come in? So if you look at the Google CEO currently, his he did have, like, he did go to this B Tech, I guess, the IIT Kongapar, and then after that he went to Stanford and then University of Penn. Interesting. Okay. So it's like you go to junior college in India, and then you go to an American university, and then you go to an Ivy League. What about Microsoft CEO? Same kind of deal. Some Indian kind of technology school. Then he went to the University of Wisconsin, and then he went to University of Chicago. Okay. What about the Adobe CEO? He went to Osmania University, and then he went to Bowling Green, and then he went to Cal, Berkeley. So there's a trend, right? It's like you go to some tech university in India, and then you get a student visa, and this is the IBM CEO, Indian Institute of Technology, and then he went to Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. That's where he went. What about FedEx? So the FedEx CEO, tech school, and then went to Syracuse, and then UT in Austin. Okay. And what about Palo Alto Networks? Tech school in India, and then went to Boston College, and then went to Northeastern University. So, it's very like clockwork. It's like you go to some junior college tech school in India, and then you go to U.S., on a student visa, get your undergrad, then you get your master's, and it's like that basically with all of them, pretty much all of these. Now, this is the former Pepsi CEO. She hasn't been CEO since 2018, 2019. Anyway, she went to University of Madras, which is in India. I wanted to make sure that wasn't like in a Madrid type school. Anyways, Indian Institute of Management. Okay. And then she went to Yale. There's a lot of similarities how these CEOs got in. Now, you could say, oh, but these are really talented people. No, not really. So a lot of, not to say that they're not talented, but a lot of these, they're actually put into position. They are put into CEO position because of the, future of India, right? India is going through a massive like growth type of economic build out, kind of like what China did like 30 years ago. So a lot of these companies, they have voted and put in CEOs that are Indian, hoping to get more favorable business in India. So it's not the fact that a lot of these CEOs are Indian, that they're the best CEOs. It's because they're CEOs hoping to get more business in India, which is like basically a lot of major corporations see that as the growth market. Because how else do you go from a country of call centers to CEO? Like, I don't know. Explain that one to me. Doesn't really make sense. Not to say that there's no in between or they don't do a lot of good technology stuff over in India, but most people used to joke about India being a call center country like 10 years ago. It was a meme. And so when you're saying that, white Americans have kind of taken a lot of offense to this because, they're not getting hired, but you have a lot of people, and this is whites, blacks, and Mexicans in the U.S. that have gone through, they've gotten college degrees, and they don't get hired anywhere. And here's one guy. I'm 28. I work at a bagel shop. I am a mathematician. My story and why, and he kind of made a video on YouTube. Not gonna go through all that, but there's a lot of those stories. What about these two guys? These two guys look like they did pretty well, wearing some high ranking talismans. Like probably got some valedictorian type status, or are close to. Really pretty highly accomplishing between both of these guys. But coming back to this word, right? Culture. I thought we were going through this DEI culture, right? Well, we were going to put minorities in a better position to help them succeed. Well, why aren't they getting fucking hired then? Huh? I mean, that's the culture, DEI. We got to make sure those that haven't proven it get into the education, but they haven't earned it, and so therefore they don't know how to work hard. And then the people that have worked hard have no incentive to work hard, and they also don't get the education. So yeah, it comes down to culture, but we need to be real careful about how we examine the culture. DEI needs to go away, but also we have plenty of smart people in this country. Take a look at some of those pictures of SpaceX and the staff that's hired there. There's a lot of white people that work at that company. And sure, I could go on a whole racist rant on, this is what happens when you do DEI. You put, minorities ahead of whites, whatever. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. There's been enough of that online. I don't need to do that. The only thing I'm going to say is we need to go back to a merit, prove it to me type society, especially into education. And we need to absolutely get rid of the H-1B1 visas. That we don't need to bring in people over here. We have plenty of people here. We have plenty of people going through college. We don't even need people coming over here on student visas that, you went through an American university just like, the other Americans, but we're going to hire you on an H-1B1 visas. What? That makes no sense. Stop visas. Stop immigration. We don't need immigrants at all. At all. We have plenty of people here. We have plenty of talent. We have a great diverse talent. It isn't about TV programs you watch. Some people do different things. It's hard to visualize someone developing their brain skills. It's a lot easier to see people's physical skills on TV and athletic performances. And those are valuable skills. People have put in a lot of time and effort to become athletically talented. Hence the Olympics. It's not just that jocks are not valuable because they lift weights and go, protein shake. There's plenty of professions to go down. Okay, but we can't just put people into the best positions at universities or the best universities that didn't deserve it. DEI is the biggest fraud, and this is fucking what happens when you put DEI into practice. So get rid of that shit, and then get rid of visa immigrants. We don't need them. You don't need them. Get your ass to work. And I made a little bit of a mistake because a lot of people tune in to see rockets shoot off and land and get caught by some tower arms, which is pretty cool. Still can't believe that actually happens, by the way. Yeah, people tune in to see that stuff from SpaceX. So yeah, it's not that people aren't nerdy and see what the possibilities can happen. But we need to move away from this white people can't do shit. And if we try to do stuff, stop pointing the finger that we're trying to do stuff. Like, everybody's against white people, but white people can't be for themselves.